All right, what's going on? We got a new episode here today. We got Dermot and Ned. They're coming out of Vegas right now. They're at the Summer League. Shout out them. We're gonna be doing a nice little episode here. So starting it off, how y'all boys doing? How's the trip out there? Just tell me how it is.
It's good, man. It's not as hot as expected, not as hot as last year. Today's our hottest day at 104 degrees Fahrenheit. But it's been good. I got in Wednesday night, Dermot got in Thursday night. Been watching a lot of basketball, meeting a lot of people, and it's been an awesome time.
Yeah, it's been a great time since I've been here. Um, Getting to see a lot of players that I've never seen play basketball before. So that's been fun. And then obviously Vegas is Vegas. So having a great time out here at the casinos last night. Win or loss, still having fun.
Well, I'm glad y'all boys made it into Vegas safely. I'm glad the flight was good. Um, Getting into the basketball aspect, the reason why you guys are there for the summer league. Um, anything you guys want to just like hit off right on the bat, like anything you just like, wow, this is the summer league, like I'm really here, like anything exciting, anything cool to share right off the bat.
Yeah, I'd say the most notable thing, at least for me, was the number of rookies that are just not playing.
True.
Like a lot of these teams have just decided to pull their rookies and their second year guys who are definitely making the roster after one or two or three games. So the fact that we're here at the tail end of summer league means that we're missing out on a lot of guys. Like we're not going to see Flag, we're not going to see Harper, we're not going to see Trey Johnson, the Wizards rookie, which is disappointing. And I'm wondering if the league's going to crack down on that because people spend a lot of money to go to these games and to get into Vegas and get a hotel. And Summer League has just become such a big thing that I'm wondering if they'll crack down on this load management thing so that people can see the stars play. But it's Vegas. It's Summer League. It's not the highest quality basketball. There's a lot of sloppiness going on in most of the games. But how about you? What were your first impressions?
Yeah, it is I guess a little disappointing that we haven't been able to see the, top guys in the draft. I mean, a lot of first round picks. Yesterday, I don't know if we caught any, but today we got to see Con Knipple play. Who else we get to see today? No, not Noah Sengay. Colin Murray Boyles.
Mm-hmm. You got Ryan Kalkbrenner, who's a second round pick.
Clifford. So we've gotten to see some of the guys that, are going to have an impact on their teams this season. So, just coming into it, I just kind of wanted to see Vegas. It was more so about, coming out here, seeing the city, spending time with Ned, of course. So that's been the most exciting thing for me. Obviously, the basketball is fun to watch and kind of see guys who, might just come out of nowhere to most people during the season, but we'll have seen them in advance. So that's really cool. But I think between all of us, the coolest things that have been done this weekend have been Ned through his sports business classroom. So do you want to kind of talk through that more?
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out Sports Business Classroom, SBC. If you haven't heard of this program, you clearly have not spent enough time around me. It is such an awesome thing. I did it in the summer of 2023. It's essentially a week-long immersion into the NBA Summer League. You get to speak with some incredible speakers and instructors. I mean, they really bring the best of the best into this program. I know this year some of their speakers included Adam Silver on the first night, Kenny Atkinson. Who else did they have? They had Mike Zarin of the Celtics, Mike Fratello, the legendary color commentator. So many more that I'm forgetting. AJ DeMonsa and his dad and his agent came in yesterday and talked to us for an hour. It's just incredible. And it all kind of culminates in this mock trade deadline on the last day where each student gets assigned a team at the beginning of the week, and you're in teams of 4 or 5. And for all of us who grew up playing NBA 2K, playing my league and putting the GM hat on, it's like a dream come true because you're just going about the trade deadline, making free agency acquisitions, negotiating with other teams, negotiating with agents, leaking stuff to the media who are represented by other students. It's so real. And NBA GMs have come in and said, this is what it's like in terms of the urgency and the stress. It's a 4-hour trade deadline on Friday morning, and I was lucky enough to come and participate. I ran the LA Clippers and made some pretty interesting moves that I'm sure we'll get into later on in the episode. But I could not have enough good things to say about SBC and Bobby Marks and Eric Pincus and all the guys and girls who run the show over there. So it's been great to reconnect with that group, and just an awesome couple of days so far here in Vegas.
That's sick,
Yeah,
man.
I think it's really cool. It reminds me of when we used to do like our connected franchise in Madden, where the three of us
Yeah.
would take control of different teams, and to see that where all 30 teams are represented, and it does have more of a realism aspect to it. I think that's really cool. Seems like a great program, and it would be great to see if other sports leagues did that, because I think it's great for the professional development of young people who are trying to get into the basketball industry. So I think Ned's gotten a lot out of it between his 2 years, first year and second year. But yeah, I mean, can we talk about the Clippers and kind of the moves you made?
Yeah. So I was running the show with the Clippers. I'm an alumni team. So instead of having 4 or 5 people assigned to the Clippers, it was just me and one other guy who wasn't in Vegas and was remote and actually like never answered his texts. So it was really just me holding things down for LA. And we went into the week thinking we'll make some moves around the margins, maybe try and pick up Bradley Beal if he gets bought out by the Suns. And of course, Beal did get bought out by the Suns in real life on Wednesday, but because the practicum started on Monday, none of that stuff actually like counted to our roster. So on Friday morning at the start of the deadline, like Bradley Beal was still on the Suns, yada yada yada. So our goal was just to make some free agency acquisitions. Bradley Beal would be great. Chris Paul on the vet minimum would be great. And what happened was the LA Lakers, the team that was running the Lakers, really wanted Kawhi Leonard. And I didn't take him off the table. I was like, we'll listen to offers, man, because we're an old team and it's unwise to just shut things down like that. And after a couple hours of negotiation, we agreed to a trade to send Kawhi Leonard to the Lakers for, get ready for this, Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent, Jake LaRavia, Jordan Goodwin, 3 first-round picks, and 2 pick swaps. And the Lakers didn't have all those. They had to like trade with the Raptors to get a couple of picks, and it was nuts.
Holy shit.
So it was all that, like Kawhi for literally those 10 things that I just said. And we leaked it to the media. We formally submitted it to the league, and it got reported in the Discord, and it was nuts. Like it was blowing up. People were memeing the Lakers. It was like so much to give up for Kawhi. And I went on set. I went on the SBC studio, like in the concourse. When you see like you're watching NBA on TNT and like the studio guys like Ernie and Chuck and Kenny and Shaq are like in the arena with fans in the background.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So they had a studio just like that at Thomas and Mack Center in Vegas. And I got to like go on set and explain like the moves that I made. It was so sick. It was so sick. And then we go to Cox Pavilion and I'm sitting there and I'm on my phone. I get a text like 4 hours after the deadline from the Lakers. And they're like, we got to pull out of the deal because there was some like minor technical issue with the deal where they had to like waive a couple of players and then sign a couple of players. And I think they just saw like all the memes that they were getting and like all of the chatter about how they gave up too much and just used that as an excuse to like pull out of the trade. So the whole deal ended up collapsing like 4 hours after, and we didn't signing like 4 hours and the LA Clips for the sake of the practicum. So it was hectic. It would have been pretty cool if we were able to pull that trade off, but yeah, it was so much fun to go through that journey.
Do you think if maybe you didn't leak it to the media that the trade would have gone through?
I don't think that's what killed the trade. I think what killed the trade was it was like an in-season trade. It was like February 6th, 2026. And it was like a 5 players for 1 player
Yeah.
thing. So like the Clippers then had to cut 4 players and the Lakers had to sign 4 players. And it was just really tough to make it work under the CBA. And everything that we do is like very stringently reviewed by like CBA experts to make sure that like we're following all the bylaws, all the rules. So I think if we didn't leak it to the media and people didn't find out about it, like maybe it would have gone through because they wouldn't have seen the backlash. But who knows, man? It is what it is. It was cool just to play pretend GM for a few hours there.
That's amazing to hear, Ned, bro. I wish you got that trade through. That's so dope. You went up on that set. Like, man, I'm so proud of you, bro. I'm so happy for you. I like way to go. That shit is tough. Um, that's so funny. I can't believe that they meme the fuck out of the Lakers. Oh my gosh, that's just hilarious.
And you'll never guess who the Lakers signed like to fill up their roster. Guess who the first player they signed was?
Uh, Russell Westbrook.
After trading their whole bench, they signed Ben Simmons.
Bruh, I hate Ben Simmons.
So their team was Luca, Reeves, Kawhi, LeBron. They got Jakob Poeltl from Toronto, and then all they had left on the team was Bronny, and then they signed Ben Simmons. So that was it. Like that was their whole team, and they had to sign a bunch of like
God.
10 days and convert a bunch of G League contracts, and it was a mess. And I could talk about this all day, but the last thing that I'll say on the trade deadline is when we went on set, it was me and these two media broadcast guys, the guy who broke the story, and then another one of the super talented SBC students.
Yeah.
And we talked for 5 minutes and they were just asking me questions and I was addressing Clipper Nation and all that. And as soon as we wrap up, Howard Beck and CP, the franchise, and J.A. Adonde, like super, super legit world class NBA media members, came up to us and were like, critiquing what we did and the questions that they asked and my responses and body language. And so you're literally learning from the best of the best, like cutting edge professionals in this industry, getting direct feedback on your work. I mean, like, I can't think of any other opportunity that even comes close to this if you're interested in working in sports. And so I know SBC is not paying me to say any of this, but if you're listening and you love the game of basketball and you want to learn how to get involved and how to really break into the industry, like I could not recommend Sports Business Classroom enough to you. And feel free to reach out to me if you have any other questions or anything about it, because it's a super great group.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
that's
was super cool seeing the like kind of mock TV broadcast. I got to see podcast Ned from a third person point of view as opposed to conversing with him,
that's
being able to
cool.
see him on the TV, like with the headset on and everything. That was very cool. Caught myself in the back on the camera once or twice. It was sweet. But yeah, I mean, great experience out here. Something that's so cool is just the people who are out here. Just today, for example, we look down at courtside and we see Max Crosby down there, Jared Verse is down there, AJ DeBanza is down there. And then even last night, we're in the casino, we see Dalton Connect, crazy stuff. Who else? Danny Wolf.
We played blackjack with Danny Wolf.
Played blackjack with Danny Wolf for one hand, and then he got up off the table.
Yeah.
So it's just cool being in the setting where you just see these guys casually, and it's just just comes up out of nowhere.
That's really cool to hear. Yeah, the experience sounds amazing. One question is the how long is the program? Like how many?
So it kicks off on Sunday night and the last day is Saturday. So it's a full 7 day program. And then people usually fly back Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon. So like tonight, the Saturday night is usually just like relaxing, hanging out in Vegas. You're all super close and bonded through a stressful week where you've hardly slept. But yeah, it's a full week long program and watching a ton of basketball, learning from the brightest minds, and it's unparalleled, I would say.
Did you guys see anything from your favorite teams?
We did get to watch the Wizards today. Obviously, most of the kind of the rookies and the guys that are actually going to be in the rotation next year weren't out there. Watkins was playing today. He looked pretty solid. I think he had a 20-10 game or 18-10, something like that. In terms of aside from that,
Dylan Jones, he had
had a very good
25 and 10. He looks undersized. I was excited to watch him in person because he looked small on TV, and I think he looked even smaller in person. He's kind of a stocky build, but he was a really good scorer in college. I think he averaged around 25 a game at Weber State. And I think today what we saw is just his motor and his activity. Like he's a very active cutter. He's a willing passer, but like he knows how to get to his spots and get downhill. And he was very vocal out there as well. Like you can see him really taking the game seriously. And you don't get that from a lot of players in summer league, especially like the later games as well. They're kind of mentally checked out. It's not like a competitive game. So the
Yeah.
guys who really do try and apply themselves sticks out. But unfortunately, didn't get to see Bob or Sar, Keyshawn, or Trey Johnson or Will Riley or a lot of the main Wizards who we were hoping to check out in person. But at least we got to see a couple guys who were under contract for next year.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
and we
really
got
good.
to see, those guys, AJ, Trey, Will Riley, all on the bench. So it was kind of interesting. We kind of talked about how they appear from, when they're not playing, like Trey Johnson's end of the bench, right between the coaches, super like locked in. He's there's a sideline interview going on, and he's filming it behind the camera, so he's having a good time. So it's nice to see kind of how they act off the court. Um, even with the disappointment of not being able to see them play, it is cool to just kind of see them milling around and being themselves. Like AJ Johnson, just like halftime, just going to grab pizza and then coming back while the rest of the team's like huddled up and everything like that. It's pretty funny stuff.
Playing, but they played Charlotte, who had Dalton Connect going, and that was pretty cool. I thought Connect looked pretty good today. Sorry, I've been mixing up Dalton Connect and Con
The
Knipple
KN last name
this whole week. But yeah, we saw Con Knipple playing a good amount, which was cool. Had some nice threes. Ryan Kalkbrenner as well, who I scouted, and yeah, there were a couple other guys who kind of popped in summer league. But yeah, unfortunately didn't get to see the main Wizards guys, which was a disappointment.
Yeah. But that's still cool. You got to see some of the dudes under contract, like you said.
I think a lot of this stuff is going to take time to develop, especially with the guys that we did watch. Like they're not going to come in and play right away, aside from like Knipple. But I mean, what I think we had mixed reactions watching Con Knipple today. He's very intentional with everything he does on the court, very decisive. So that was good to see. There were times where I thought he was a bit passive for someone who's, the number 4 overall pick and supposed to be the guy, the best player on the court.
Yeah.
But overall, I think, he was relatively impressive. I think he kind of played the role in the summer league team that he's going to play for the Hornets. He's not going to be the primary ball handler. He's not going to be the primary facilitator. He's going to be a guy who, moves well off the ball, plays on the wing,
Yeah.
can create a little bit from that position. We did see him go down with a bit of an injury towards the end.
Yeah.
Hopefully not too serious, kind of banged his head on the floor. But I guess we'll see in the final. Tomorrow, we're going to have the Kings versus the Hornets. We won't be here for that, but I'll definitely be tuned in watching from the airport.
Yeah, I thought Khan was interesting. He didn't really make mistakes, which is good. And in the second half, especially, they were really running offense through him. He is very fluid, and something I noticed a couple of times during the game is he doesn't waste dribbles. Like he is extremely decisive when he has the ball. He knows before he receives it exactly what he wants to do, whether that's a quick swing, a look ahead pass, a couple dribbles into a pull up, or if he's just going to shoot off the catch. He's a very quick decision maker, and I think that bodes well for him. One thing that I want to see him improve on is just his strength. This is something that I noticed when he was at Duke, when I saw that Duke Carolina game in March. I think he needs to just be able to absorb hits a little bit better, and that'll help him turn into more of a 3-level scorer where he can get into the paint a little bit and use his good balance and his good touch. He just needs to make sure that he can absorb contact from defenders, but the tools are there. I mean, this guy could definitely become a really solid starter on a good team. and he's one of the more high floor guys in this draft as well. So I was very pleasantly surprised by what I saw from Con Kniffel today. I also got to see Bronny. This is before you got in, but the Lakers played the Celtics my first day here, and got to see Bronny James play for at least a half, and he looked good. The passing was good. Clearly, a very unselfish player. Moves extremely well. He looks a lot stronger than he did last year, and it's crazy with Bronny because obviously he had so much pressure going into last season. The lights were constantly on him, and it was on him to step up and perform. And I thought he handled that as well as you could possibly expect a 19-year-old kid to handle that pressure. But he didn't look like an NBA player, let's be real. This year in Summer League, he has been very solid. I think he's already turned into like a 99th percentile, 55th overall pick, which is really good. Like he looks like he will have a role to play in at least some Laker games this year. So I think if you're a Laker fan or a Bronny fan, that is one of the biggest things that you saw in Summer League was just the confidence and the comfortability that Bronny showed being the number one option for the Lakers. And I think he honestly outplayed Dalton Connect, which is cool. And like, I want to ask you guys this: who between Bronny and Dalton Connect, who do you guys think has a higher chance of still being in the NBA in 10 years?
I don't know. I honestly haven't watched. I didn't watch too much Dalton Connect last year, and obviously Bronny was very limited in terms of his minutes. But what, like you've said, we've seen in the summer league this year. I would maybe go with Bronny. I think if he continues to like bulk up and stay healthy, I think he could. I'm not gonna say he's gonna be a superstar in the league. From now, I could still see as a quality role player on a good team.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think because of his defense is what keeps him in the league and keeps him, like you said, fit in that role on a team, and he can come out and guard a player and clamp up somebody good, and I think that's why he might be in the league for a little bit longer. I did see one crazy didn't he have one crazy dunk this summer league, like a steal on a first round pick, and then he did like a LeBron James cock back, like he looked exactly like his dad, like it was crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if I saw a full LeBron reincarnation, but he he definitely looked like he was ready for the moment. I think at times in summer league last year, he just appeared pretty hesitant and unconfident. And this year, I think he took it upon himself to be the best player on the floor, and he seemed like he was right for the moment. Is the only way that I could describe it. And I have high hopes. I think he will stick around in the league for at least a couple more years. I would still probably take Dalton Connect over the next 10 years. Like, I don't want to underwrite what he did as a rookie. Appeared in 78 games, 20 minutes a night, pretty good percentages. Wasn't a factor in the playoffs, but he's still a really solid player, absolute beast at Tennessee. So wild just seeing him at the Aria last night, walking around. We all like literally walked right past him, like 3 feet away. He was like flicking up with somebody, and it was like we could get a picture with him, but nah, it was it was just super cool. All those interactions with the players. And another guy I wanted to bring up is Tyler Kolek, the point guard for the Knicks, played at Marquette, and he's just a pure point guard. He is a very instinctual passer. He knows how to read a defense. His handle and shiftiness is pretty good. And at times he just looked like he was by far the best player on the floor. He was like a chess player who was 2 moves ahead of the other 9 guys that were out there. Very good assist to turnover ratio stuff. I don't know if he's going to have a role for the Knicks this year because the defense is just going to be so bad, but he should get opportunities. Like if Brunson misses time, I see no reason why Kolek can't get some backup point guard minutes. And I just like players like that. Like I like the undersized, relatively unathletic, but super high IQ guards. I just have a soft spot for players like that. And so I was impressed by what I saw from Tyler Kolek in summer league. He was good last year and good in the preseason. And so hopefully he can make the next step and start getting some regular season production going. But he was another good one to see. I'm trying to think if there are any other like standout summer league guys.
Well, I think like a cool consolation of the summer league and not seeing all the guys who are going to get rotational minutes. I got to see a lot of guys who I haven't thought about in years, who were great college basketball players. First one that came to mind, we were watching the Bucks and the Heat, and we had Marcus Noel, point guard from Kansas State, when they went on that run. It was so cool seeing him again because he was so fun to watch that March Madness run. So like that just reinvigorated some memories. Kyra Lewis Jr., former first round pick, was out there. Saw Scal Labissiere, who is not a person I've thought of in so long. So that was a fun part of it.
Who was that guy on? Gosh, what game was it when there was that little guy who had that crazy dunk?
The Sixers. Was it Armstrong?
Yeah.
Mark Armstrong.
Yeah.
He flew. He's probably 6 foot, maybe no taller than that. Took off from like the third hash on the the block, and he just like flew. Head was at the rim. That was great to see.
It was like Michael Jordan. Like he was literally floating, and he had room to spare. He could have like jumped from another foot back and still finished that dunk easily. It was one of the coolest in-game dunks I've seen.
Repeat his name.
Mark Armstrong. And then another guy I saw, Grant, you're probably more familiar with this game than I might be, but when the Heat were playing white guy Eric Stevenson, I believe he went to West Virginia. He had a good like 17 points in that game. He was looking efficient. He got his shit stuffed one time. It was pretty bad. Ned was, I think, in the bathroom for that one, but but yeah, he looked good out there as well.
Tyrese Sanders, right? The guy in Brooklyn.
Tyrese Samuels.
And we're sitting in front of this guy who is he's the director of scouting for a Canadian basketball team. And he was probably the biggest, like most knowledgeable basketball person I've ever spoken to when it comes to obscure prospects. Like I remember asking what his comp was for Jeremiah Fears, and he couldn't think of an NBA player, but he could think of a FIBA guy who obviously I've never heard of because I don't watch FIBA. And this guy just knew basically something about every single player on the floor when I couldn't even name half the Wizards Summer League roster who was active tonight. It was just nuts. And I bring that up because being at Summer League is one of the most humbling things that you can do as somebody who prides themselves in knowing basketball, because it is just full of NBA savants, NBA sickos. And you go from feeling like you know more than 99% of people about basketball to like, wow, I know probably the least amount about basketball as everyone in this room right now. And it's nuts. That's one of the things that I loved about SBC was like for one of the first times in my life, it was like, wow, these guys know more about basketball than me. Like these guys love it more than me. And it's a very surreal thing. And Grant, as a football guy who knows the X's and O's and knows the concepts and knows the rosters really well, I'm sure that you would like have a similar realization at like the NFL Combine or like a similar event where it's just the best and the brightest minds coming at it. It's a weird feeling.
Yeah, you got to know if you're in the sports world that you're not the smartest person in the world or in the room. Like you gotta learn from others. I think I watched like just a quick little fact. I watched a thing. Drew Bledsoe said this about Tony Romo. He said that Tony Romo had like a mannerism about him that he just thought he knew shit and he didn't take anything from anybody else, and I think that's why he didn't grow, and I don't think that's why he was like that good. And you got to learn from other people, you got to take from other people. You don't know everything. There's always more to learn, especially in the world of sports. The game is always developing. You could be the inventor of the next great move, the next great shots, the next Steph Curry, you know what I'm saying? Like the next Sam Presti, the next Ned Storer.
Yeah, I love that. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I feel like, I know ball to an extent. And being around Ned, I feel out of my depth. And then just like being around people who know like this much more than Ned is absolutely absurd. Like we're watching this guy on I forget which team he was on, but last name Najee. I'm like, oh, is he related to Zeke Najee on the Nuggets? And this guy's just like, no, he's not. He came from Barcelona. Like, I like him a lot. He's a really good player. And I'm just like, and then he's like, Ned asked about some player who was maybe on the Wizards G League team last year. And he's like, no, I didn't get much. Didn't get to watch that G League team much. I'm like, you're watching other G League teams like consistently? What sicko? But like, I mean, to each their own, and it's fair. Like when you're working in that industry, you gotta, especially in the scouting department, you gotta kind of know that stuff. And so that was just like people watch the G League, like multiple teams, like that was that was astonishing to me.
And Grant, I love what you said, because I think if you're going to go to Summer League and invest hundreds of dollars, we'll see maybe thousands of dollars after we hit the casinos tonight.
Hopefully not.
You have to go into it with the right mindset. And I couldn't have put it better myself. You're not the smartest person in the room. There's something to learn from every interaction that you have just in life, but especially at Summer League, because everybody is there because they love basketball and they know something about basketball that you have not even thought about. There are people here who have forgotten more about basketball in the last week than I know. And if you want to get the most out of something like this, you have to go in with an open mind. And there's the old saying, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. You should do twice as much listening as talking. I think at Summer League, you should be doing 10 times as much listening as you do talking, because there is so much to learn. There's so many gifted minds here. And if you come in with the mindset of, I need to prove that I know more than you, you're going to miss out on so much, and you're doing it wrong. And I think the vast majority of people have that. And it feels like it's a very humble, respectful crowd. We didn't meet anyone this week who was like cocky in any way or like a know-it-all. Everyone here is humble and curious, and it's so good. It's like you're just surrounded by the best, most driven and insightful people, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and to your point, like these people who are incredibly knowledgeable, they're not bragging about their knowledge. They're sharing their knowledge, which is really cool to see. That nobody has a massive ego about things. Like it was very cool to see, especially as from somebody who, is not, basketball is probably the sport I follow the third most. So that was, I mean, that felt nice in that, like, I might know more than the average person, maybe not more than the average NBA fan, but they still didn't make me feel like I didn't know shit when they knew so much more. So it was but yeah, we'll move past that. I guess, Ned, do you want to talk about your dinner last night?
Oh, yeah. So last night I was invited to go out to dinner with a couple of members of an NBA front office, which was really cool, like a dream come true type thing. As somebody who's kind of an aspiring NBA front office member myself. And it was amazing. It was like a 2.5 hour dinner at an incredible steakhouse. And I just got to listen for 2.5 hours about their life experiences. They told stories. They talked about all the work that they put in to be in the position that they're in now. And it makes you realize, like, to make it in sports, you have to work 5 times as hard as you have to work to make it in a normal industry, because there are so few spots in the sports industry and so many people who want them. You have to grind, and it's going to suck. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be hard, and you're going to want to quit, and you're not going to find that sense of success for years and years and years. It is a long, brutal game. But if it's what you want to do, it's worth it in the end. And so it was super cool. Got to hear about their stories, got to hear a little bit more about how an NBA front office actually works. Both of them were super awesome, down to earth, cool people from a really, really, really good NBA organization. And yeah, it was just a surreal, awesome thing. Never thought I'd be sitting at a super nice steakhouse with like very incredible NBA front office people. But when in Vegas, sometimes you just get these random opportunities and you got to take them. And I try to just listen as much as I could. Like I didn't say I would have all these thoughts and all these insights and I would want to say them, but I was like, I cannot use up this valuable golden time with me saying what's on my mind. Like, of course, you have to talk and like show that you're insightful and be part of the
Yeah.
conversation. But the real value in it is just listening and hearing how their brains work and their experiences. And it was awesome, man. It was like one of the best dinners of my life. Like seriously, and the food was pretty good, but like the actual conversation was awesome, and so it was great. It was the highlight of my trip.
That sounds amazing, Ned. It sounds like the perfect place for you, full of NBA junkies and nice welcoming people to Dermot. Like anybody can go there from NBA nerds to casuals to anybody. Like
You
it
calling
sounds
me a
very
casual?
welcoming. No,
I'm kidding.
not you, but
I'm
like
kidding. I'm definitely more of a casual than a nerd. But yeah, sorry to interrupt.
but but it sounds very welcoming. So I mean, I'm trying to go out there too, man. Like I got to see what's up. Dermot, like how was your like how would you go back?
Um, I think I'd have to have a reason to go back. I wouldn't just go to go. I mean, Vegas is a great city, totally worth going to once in your life, 100%. I was talking about this with Ned. Like, I mean, if I'm vacationing somewhere, I'm more of a seclusion kind of vacation guy than a like hub vacation guy. So it doesn't appeal to me in the greatest way. Maybe if I make a shit ton of money tonight, that would definitely change. But you know, I think not so soon, but I definitely would want to come out for another summer league, especially if, the NBA does make a change to where, it's more appealing to the fans in terms of the product we see on the court. Because there were times, I mean, I couldn't count how many times there was a shit lob where they, fuck up an alley oop.
Yeah,
Like
they made the alley oops
that,
so hard.
that was like honestly the biggest difference from NBA basketball is like these guys cannot complete an alley oop like in the slightest.
Mhm.
And a lot of that's probably, the team camaraderie and everything like that, because these guys haven't been teammates for years. But definitely, you know, definitely would want to come back at some point.
They need
Yeah.
something like this for the NFL. I swear. Like
Yeah.
we were talking about how SBC is so cool, and it would be awesome to have something like that for other leagues. But is there something in the NFL that is like this, where everyone is in the same city for a few days and connecting like this?
I mean, the closest thing would maybe be the combine when
Or the
everybody's in
draft.
Indianapolis, but I don't think they have like I mean, you're not watching people play football. You're watching people work out and, seeing interviews and stuff like that. So that'd be the closest to it. I know, so much goes on with MLB spring training. Half the teams are in Florida, half the teams are in Arizona. So I'm sure there's a lot going on with that. But it's not nowhere near to the same extent that the NBA does it. And I think they do a phenomenal job. Even just like being in the stadium, they have so many like activations, like you could test your vertical jump, see, all your statistics and your wingspan and everything like that.
Film
They had,
festival.
yeah, the film festival, which was really cool. Little Papa shots.
Yeah, they
The
do a great job with
the
that
summer
stadium.
league, the summer league photo op that you guys saw on our Instagram.
No, we were recording a podcast there. That was not a photo op.
Sorry, the podcast. Yeah, because when's that podcast getting posted?
I don't know. Sometime in the next 12 months, I'd say, or next year.
Yeah, my bad on the slip of the tongue. But no, it's really cool. Yeah, I just think the NBA does a great job with the whole production of this, and it's like we've mentioned something you don't see elsewhere in the sports world.
I mean, you have the Pro Bowl in the NFL, but that's in Hawaii, right? And it's a week before the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they alternate when they do it, and or where they do it, and it's not like I
I
don't
mean,
think
this
the
this is
coaches
a
are going there, and you know.
yeah. This is exactly I was talking to my dad earlier and he was like, I was trying to explain to him like what summer league was and where you guys were and relate it to football, and I just said like kind of like training camp.
Yeah. But if everybody had a training camp, like I guess they have the joint practices in the NFL where, you get to see them scrimmage against other teams. But it was like that. But if every team played in this, you had
Yeah.
6 of those in a day,
Yeah.
which would be crazy to
Yeah,
see.
and you were all in the same city, and like there were things to do after hours, and like it was nuts. Like we were just sitting there in section 105 at Thomas and Mack, and like Alvin Gentry, the longtime NBA head coach, just walked up the steps right next
Right
to
past
us.
us.
I was walking down the concourse 2 days ago, and Marjan Beauchamp from the Knicks was just hanging out, first round pick. He was just talking to somebody, just like said what's up to Marjan Beauchamp. Like you just run past random people who you see on TV and never even think that they're actual people, and you just see them. Like we played blackjack with Danny Wolf, and like Ben Seraph was right there.
And like Danny Wolf pulls out his ID, we see it, and he has a vertical ID, and it's just like, wow, like this. Like,
These are
I would
everyday
never.
people, man.
Yeah, they're just people. Like these are 21-year-old people. It's just crazy to see in their element because especially coming from where I am, when every interaction I have with an athlete or seeing an athlete is in the professional setting, it's so cool to see them just living their life.
Yeah. It sounds really cool, and it sounds like a great experience. Um, just, like, moving on to anything, like, NFL wise, I wanted to, touch on, like, Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. I heard that some of Steelers fans were burning Aaron Rodgers merch before he even starts a game. I just wanted to hear y'all's opinions on that real quick and see if, they're being too ahead of themselves, or should they chill out and let us see what happens?
I mean, if you ask me, every Steelers jersey is worth burning. So there's my answer to that.
Why are they burning his jersey? What's the beef?
I think it's the beef with the organization for signing him in the first
Mhm.
place, but,
Why do they hate him?
um
Like just because he beat them in the Super Bowl in like 2009?
I mean, he's also just kind of generally an asshole in many ways. So, I mean, a lot of people disagree with him in many facets. He's better than Mason Rudolph, so I wouldn't be that mad about it. But I think what the Steelers want is to maybe not go 9-8 for a season or get kicked out of the first. Like, not that tanking should be promoted, but like, be shit. Like we were talking about how the Bulls are kind of in this no man's land where they're never going to get a super top pick and they're never going to be a true contender. That's the Steelers. So I think a lot of Steelers fans are kind of not happy with that. But then you have Steelers fans who wanted them to draft Shadur Sanders in the first round. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen there with Shadur in his career, but yeah, I just think they're not happy with the mediocrity. And obviously the last 2 years of Aaron Rodgers, or last year because he was injured the year before, was mediocre. So, they don't want that, but feels a little odd to be going out of their way to, buy a jersey just to burn it.
Do you guys think the like over 500 streak that the Steelers have under Mike Tomlin plays into their like refusal to rebuild?
100%, and I think that that 500 record is because of TJ Watt.
Yeah, who
Like
they just made the most expensive non-quarterback ever, right?
yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
but I don't know if that's an organizational thing. I think that's just Mike Tomlin being the great coach that he is and the you know, stubborn guy that he is like, no matter what, he's going to try to win every single damn game. And the Steelers, however good their roster has been, however good their quarterback has been, like they just pull out games that that they maybe shouldn't. And they just end up with a better record than their roster says seemingly every year. And now I don't think firing Mike Tomlin is the answer to that. I know there were rumblings of that in the past year or two. But something's got to change because it's been since they won the Super Bowl, I think in 2009. Have they won? I don't think they've won a playoff game since then. And they've been
No, they must have made an AFC championship.
The Steel
Really?
I don't think they made an AFC Championship with
That's
the
crazy.
Bell, Brown, and Big Ben combo. So,
I don't think they did either.
and it's like, one thing to be good and be, on the verge or in the playoffs every year, but what does the future hold for that? Like the fans are becoming dissatisfied with it, and maybe that's an entitled point of view from a team that's won 6 Super Bowls or maybe 5. That's like, hey, we should be contending. So it is kind of an entitled point of view because there's so many franchises and fan bases that have been terrible. So to not have a losing season, is an impressive feat, but I don't think like that streak is the reason why they won't like enter into a rebuild. I think it's just Mike Tomlin being Mike Tomlin.
I don't think they should be burning Aaron Rodgers' jersey before he plays a snap for him. Has he officially signed with them yet?
It's
okay,
official.
so that's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of jersey burning unless there's due cause, and there might be due cause in 18 weeks. But right now, back your guy, man. Back your guy. You have a good roster. They have a really, really good defense. All they really need is the quarterback. So if I'm a Steelers fan, I am, even no matter how I feel about Aaron Rodgers and his politics, back your guy, cross your fingers, don't burn the jersey.
Yeah, and it's crazy to me that it feels like more Aaron Rodgers jerseys have been burned than Big Ben jerseys have been burned after he settled out of court for date rape. So like, what are the Steelers fans' priorities? I'm just a hater of the Steelers in general, but like, as much as I don't like Aaron Rodgers, I would never burn a player on my team's jersey. And maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but like when I had a Ray Rice jersey, when that whole incident happened, I didn't burn his jersey. I threw it in the bottom of my closet and then took the stitching of his name off. My mom put in Dobbins. So we repurposed that. Obviously, J.K. Dobbins no longer a Raven. I don't know who's 27 for the Ravens nowadays, but yeah, you have to have like a certain disregard for money in general, as well as like you have to have a certain like burning passion inside you to want to do that as to a player that you haven't even seen play a single snap.
It's kind of it's cringe. It's cringe. It's performative.
Yeah, it's
on your point though, Ned, when you say back your guy, like I want to put you in the Colts GM seat. Who are you starting week 1, Daniel Jones or Richardson?
Is Richardson healthy?
Yes, both healthy.
Richardson.
And you're backing him.
Richardson is still the most important member of the Colts organization. More important than the GM, more important than the coach. If Richardson can figure it out and tap into the amazing gifts that he has, then this team can win a Super Bowl. In not this year.
Okay.
I'm not going that far. Okay. They could make the playoffs this year. They could win a playoff game this year. I mean, things change fast. They call it the not for long league. And if you got to give the guy a chance. I know he's had chances and he's shown flashes of being good and he's shown a lot of flashes of being not good, but you're not starting Daniel Jones over this guy in week 1 if he's healthy. Like if he's healthy and he's working hard and he's being a good leader and doing the things that he hasn't really shown he can do for the first 2 years, start him, give him a chance. And then if it doesn't work and it's week 3 and we're down 17 points to the Jags, roll the dice with Danny Dimes, which you brought him in for. But yeah, I would be if Daniel Jones is starting week 1 over a healthy Anthony Richardson, that would be a big organizational failure.
I think so too. Do you think Anthony Richardson will reach that ceiling?
Yeah, I think he's going to be like a top 8, top 9 quarterback of all time when it's all said and done. Like you got Warren Moon and Dan Marino. I think he'll be around that level.
Warren Moon the first name that came to mind.
I think he'll pass Elway. That's my take. He'll pass Elway.
So 3 Super Bowls.
Huh?
3 Super Bowls.
Yeah. So he'll win 4.
Oh my!
But he's not going to win the MVP. It's going to be Jonathan Taylor for the first one, Tyler Warren for the second 2, and then the last one.
Two.
No. The last one is going to be Quentin Nelson at like age 40.
Oh, a left guard win an MVP.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
would be,
they'll be running some trick plays. So they'll score like a 1 yard rushing touchdown. It'll be awesome. No,
that would be great.
I don't know. My like confidence level in Anthony Richardson is pretty low right now, just based on what we saw last year, the accuracy problems, and then honestly, more concerning to me is the intangible problems. Um, the being late to stuff and not taking leadership seriously. That matters to me a lot. As a quarterback, you need to be a model citizen. You need to set the example. So if he's not on top of those things, I get it. He's a kid. He's 21, 22, but as a quarterback, you need to be held to a higher standard. If he doesn't have that for himself, then he can't be helped. Um, but it's still possible. So I'd say if I had to put a number on it, I'd say there's like a 25% chance that Anthony Richardson is the quarterback to lead us to our next playoff berth. But would you say that's a fair assumption?
I Well, you know how I was in my fantasy prediction, I thought he was gonna be the number 1 fantasy QB, last year, his rookie year, and that totally flopped. He got injured, and you guys know what happened then, but I kinda believe in the kid. I think if you're right, if you start him and you stick by him and you say, "Oh, this is my guy," then he has the potential to, because he hasn't played that much football, and because if you say, "I'm gonna stick with him and play him," he gets that experience. I think he'd be that. I think he could reach that ceiling, and I would give him more than 25%. I'd give him 50 or more. I think he could be your next QB. I just think you guys need to actually stick by him and play him and run him through schemes and not make it too hard and just hold his hand sort of a little bit because he hasn't played that much, and I think he could be special. But Dermot, you have any takes on AR?
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, everybody knew when he was drafted and coming up out of the draft, this guy's a project. He's nowhere near the finished product. And so to give up on him, like to give up on him for somebody, good and established is one thing, but to give up on him for Daniel Jones in year 3 seems short-sighted to me. Now I don't know that people saw him having a completion percentage below 50% or right around 50%. So he's, been below expectation, but you gotta continue to roll with the guy. The draft capital, I think 4th overall pick that they spent on him, is just too much to give up on so soon.
Sunk
Yeah,
cost fallacy. Like
That's fair.
if he doesn't have it, then you gotta move on.
But you can't
Don't
just
keep
make that decision before week 1 in year 3, I don't think.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah,
But
like you said, 3 games in. Sure.
if we get an early pick, if we get a top 8 pick in the draft next year, and we are bad, like I have no problem with going and getting a quarterback in the draft. You got to nail that position, man. And like Richardson's a project, but I'm almost starting to wonder if project quarterbacks are becoming less attractive to teams because the new model that teams are following in the NFL is get an elite quarterback when they're young, like year 1, year 2, they're on a rookie cost control deal. Then you can splurge on the rest of the roster, which is what the Commanders are doing right now. Which is what the Chiefs did with Mahomes in his first few years. And then once Mahomes aged into a huge contract, they had to start getting rid of guys like Tyreek Hill, and now the offense very middling. So a project quarterback who's not going to bear fruit until he's in year 4, year 5 might not be the move because you never get the chance to really contend and build an elite roster around them while they're cheap.
Yeah, and I think the whole league fell in love with the idea of a project quarterback in when Mahomes got drafted, sat out for the first year, and then balled out in his second year. When Lamar burst onto the scene in his second year, when Josh Allen struggled in his first year, then balled out his second year. So I think those 3 guys should be seen more as outliers than what is the way to go moving forward. So I agree with you on that point. That yeah, you want to get a guy that's going to be good.
Yeah.
Whether it's year 1 or year 2, you don't want to have to wait more than 2 years for that because the teams that have won the Super Bowl, I think aside from the Chiefs and the Patriots in the last like 15, 20 years, they've always been QBs on rookie contracts. So Yeah, I think the project quarterback thing is going to change, and I do want to hear Grant, as somebody who was really locked in on college. What do you think about the 2026 NFL draft class in the quarterback position? I know, like, Arch Manning, Nussmeier's up there. What do you think about those guys and
Yeah,
anybody I didn't?
Garrett Nussmeier is a really good player. I know Carson Beck out of Miami. I think he's gonna be not that good. Arch Manning, he's a
Is
huge
Arch
name.
Manning going to stick around another year, you think?
I think he has to, doesn't he?
No, I
He's
think
going into year 3, right?
yeah, this is year 3.
Oh, this is year 3? No, he's not gonna stick around. He's gonna
Yeah.
well, I don't know if he has a weird year this year.
Or the NIL money is elite?
I don't think that would do anything for him. I think he's looking for a legacy
Space.
more than money
Yeah.
because he's grown up with money, bro. He's had fucking rich ass uncles, bro. Like he knows what money is. He's trying to be like his
Okay.
uncles in the legacy way, but
Okay.
um John Mateer, I think his name is, out of Oklahoma. He transferred from Washington State to Oklahoma this year. I look out for him. I think he might be a good QB. He's big, tall, uh, like the build you want for a QB. Um, Robertson out of Baylor. I really like him. Um, look for him. He's high IQ. I like his IQ. He might not be the most physical like runner or dual threat QB, but um look for him out of Baylor. Um, but this QB class is looking good. I'm excited. I want to get your guys' opinion on this. Do you think the college football should be expanded so like a coach was saying a certain percentage of the NFL goes to the playoff, right? Like 25%, let's just say, or 30 or whatever the percentage is, like certain percentage goes to the playoffs, right? He was saying that a certain percentage of the NCAA should go to the playoffs and they should expand it to like 30 teams or something like that. So more teams can have the chance to go to the playoffs. What do you guys think about that?
I think logistically that makes it very difficult. You don't want to be having these college guys playing 20 games and with a 30 team playoff, unless you cut the regular season short to, 10 games, that wouldn't be feasible. And with the sample size of 10 games, is that enough to decide, who gets into the playoffs or not? So I think that's very difficult, especially like, I mean, I was supporting Tulane all of last year. I think we got as high as number 15 in the AP top 25. Realistically, we should have never been in the college playoff. So like when you do that, then you just set up these teams to get smoked by, the Bamas of the world, the Ohio States of the world, the Texas of the world. So I'm I think the 12 team is a good amount. I think maximum you could go to 16, but I think beyond that would be too much for me.
I enjoyed the expanded playoff this year, but a 30 team, or it would probably be a 32 team, right? To make it easy, unless you
Yeah.
got Frisky with the bye weeks. That's 5 rounds of playoffs. So that's, if you're playing a game a week, you start your playoffs in like what, mid-December? Is that when they start, or is it like the beginning of January?
I mean, the playoffs, the Big Six bowls were on New Year's Day, so you'd have to
Yeah.
start that
No.
earlier into mid-December, which cuts off, conference play, and then you could have a team like, let's say, Florida, for example, in the SEC. Their in-conference schedule could be Vanderbilt, could be A&M, Mississippi State, like not any of the super strong powerhouses.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are we really doing at that point, especially with these massive conferences now growing to 14,
Yeah.
16 teams?
I think with how much you have to space out the games, you don't want your playoffs to take more than 4 weeks if you're in college football. Like in the NFL, that makes sense because it's professional. In college, when the baseline has been 4 teams forever and ever and ever, it doesn't make sense to go up to a 30 or a 32 team playoff, especially just with the like how disparate the talent is between the top and the bottom of that. Like, what are the odds that a 1 seed Georgia team loses to a 32 seed. I don't know, William and Mary seed.
Yeah.
Like
I see
I don't
y'all's
know.
point. So what
I don't know if that's
I'm trying to ask, like, what's the sweet spot? What's your number, Ned?
I I like 12. I think 12 is cool. To be honest with you, I watched maybe like 3 games of college football in this past year, but I think 4 was always way too small.
Yeah.
There are always really, really good, fun teams that got left out. And like, it was cool to see Ashton Genty in the tournament this year and like Bo
Yeah.
Scatabo and just these guys who I'd heard about
Big
all year
names.
long who might not have made it into the college football playoff in the previous format. That was cool. And I also just love when teams in college football play against other conferences. And if it's only 4 teams, you're likely going to have at least 2, maybe 3 or 4 SEC teams in there. And so you've already seen those matchups happen. But like watching Boise State play Georgia, I don't know if that was a matchup this year, but like watching Boise State play these random teams is super cool. I
Yeah.
think there's like a similarity uh, within conferences in terms of like play style where in the SEC you have like these big bruising brutal offensive lines and in the Northeast it's very run heavy, you're playing in the cold and it's kind of a clash of styles when you have like the Big Ten teams go up against the SEC teams. And so I love the interconference play and I think 12 is a good number.
Yeah, and I think last year was a very unique for a 12 team playoff. Like, a bunch of 3-loss teams made the playoffs. The Arizona State won the Big 12 with 3
Yeah.
losses, and they weren't 3 losses to the best teams. With that, you get the Boise States that sneak in.
Yeah.
You get, the opportunity of these teams in the Mountain West or the American or, whatever the case is. So I think that's great. But like all these conversations that people had that Bama should have been in over SMU. There was another SEC team, like South Carolina was right there, should have been
Ole
in over
Miss or
Indiana.
whatever.
Like, it's,
Yeah.
I don't want to see like half of the college football playoff be from the SEC, even if it is the best conference and the most dominant. We didn't see that this year with Ohio State winning it all over Notre Dame. Neither of the two are SEC teams. So I think last year was a weird one for the first year. I think we'll see something more normal where it's not as controversial with Boise State getting a bye week. I think we'll see the top 4 teams be from the top 4 conferences. So I actually do love that rule of it, that there is representation from at least 5 different conferences, and the 4 teams that get a bye have to have won their conference. So I like that aspect of it. And I think 12 is the sweet spot. Like I said, I wouldn't hate going down to 8. I wouldn't hate going up to 16. But then with 16, you get rid of the bye. So there's no incentive to winning your conference title. So I think, where they're at is good. It's only been 1 year of this 12-team playoff, so we need to see a lot more of it to really judge it. But I think where we're at is a good spot and kind of a happy medium from, we get the NBA, 2/3 of the league is in the playoffs / play
Yeah.
in. The NFL, it's, just under 50%. MLB is a little less. But I think with college and how many teams there are, I don't think you need to expand it, like, especially with how taxing it is on their, you know, players. I think where we're at is a good spot.
Yeah. I agree with you, but my only argument with that is I think it could be like March Madness. I think a 32 team could upset a Georgia. Like, I'm being dead ass. I think I'm being honest. What if like the 32nd best team in the college football world is not bad. Like, they could upset someone. There's been upsets all the time in college football. I think it could definitely happen. I think that's the only argument to it. I think that upsets could happen, especially in football, opposed to basketball. It's like not college basketball, but like pros, like where they do series and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like football's a one game, like game of inches, like one time thing. So That's my only
That's fair,
argument
but
with it, but
who's gonna watch Alabama versus
you guys are right about the
BYU? You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
like
You guys are right. It would mess up like all the schedule, all the conference, all
yeah,
that.
yeah. So
But
many more injuries. I don't think the NCAA would vibe with that, but definitely a thought. And I think if we see a lot more parity in the next 3 years, with teams from smaller conferences or the fourth best team in the Big 12 being as good as the fourth best team in the SEC, I think then it's something to look at. But you know, I don't think
yeah,
I don't think so.
I think you guys are right. I think 12 is a sweet spot. Um, moving on to anything else you guys want to cover, any other topics, any other things that come to mind, any other things in the sports world, hockey, baseball, soccer, anything.
Shout out Scotty Scheffler, the guy who is the best golfer in the world who hates golf. It's pretty cool. Nah, he got a lot of respect from me for the monologue that he gave after winning the last tournament that he won. Did you guys read the Joel Embiid piece that came out from ESPN?
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
All right, it's going to take like 45 minutes to read, but would recommend it on the flight tomorrow. Maybe just download the article or something. I'll drop it in our group chat, but it's a really, really great article. I mean, it probably took the author 10 months to put that together, but it's one of the best sports pieces I've ever read. It's all about Joel Embiid, his mentality, his psychology, his whole career, going back to when he played at Montverde in Florida and then transferred and then went to Kansas and then Sixers, injuries. It's really good. It's a very intimate Embiid article. So it's been kind of all over my Twitter, and I'll send it to you guys because it's worth a read.
That sounds
Um,
like a good read.
Shamar Stewart is still beefing with the Bengals in mid-July. I don't know what's going on there, but it's not good for the Bengals. How about the Ravens, man? The Ravens are the only team without drama going on in the AFC North right now. It's pretty good.
They just re-signed Kyle Hamilton, no? Or just extended him?
If we did, I haven't seen anything about it, but I would love for that to happen if
I
it
might
hasn't officially happened yet. Probably rumors are swirling about it. They're probably having discussions. I don't think it's been locked in. Do want to touch on baseball for a second? We just had the All-Star break. Home run derby was very fun. Shout out to Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh. And then in the All-Star game, we had it tied after 9 innings, and we went to a swing off for the first time in MLB history, which was so cool. You send up 3 guys from each team. They each get 3 swings, and whichever team gets the most home runs wins. Kyle Schwarber went up there like a dog, like the dog that he is, and just dinger, 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 game over. That was such a fun watch. I got the notification on my phone because I think the NL was up 6-0 pretty early in the game. I was like, oh, I'll turn this off. It's not going to be good. And then it was tied after the ninth, and there I get the notification. It's like, oh, and we're going to a swing off. And I was like, what the hell is that? Never heard of that. Tuned in. So electric. So fun to watch.
Wow.
So, the MLB, I think, did good on that. I think some people have been unhappy with that, but I don't think you need to. I think it saves the pitcher's arms. You don't want your all-star pitchers pitching into extra innings in an all-star game. And I think in a time where the Pro Bowl sucks, NBA All-Star Weekend sucks, MLB having a good All-Star Weekend is refreshing. So it's nice to see that in the current state of sports with every other league doing it terribly.
It's a good take. Speaking of dingers, shout out Anthony Volpe, who just hit his second home run of the day. Brought the Yankees back to 8-8 with the Braves. So just had to shout out my guy AV11.
Shout out to New Jersey. Um, that sounds really good. One more thing I thought of is Micah Parsons, his contract thing. It's just another thing with the Cowboys, another year with contract issues and signing your best player or one of your best players again. And it's always a headache with that and stuff. And we're only gonna have to pay him more and stuff like that. But he might break the bank. Like he might go crazy with it. So
And he would deserve it, to be honest.
yeah.
But shout out J.K. Dobbins, newest Bronco. Loved him from the Ravens.
It's a good pickup.
So happy he's on the Broncos. God, I love J.K. Dobbins. Feel so bad for him with the injury past he's had. So hopefully he can have a really good season. I think he was one of my picks last year for like a fantasy sleeper.
Yeah.
And he had a good season when he was healthy.
Yep.
So I'm hoping he can be good for the Broncos, and I'm very excited for our fantasy
I was
episode.
gonna say, boys,
It's gonna be coming up here pretty soon.
It's about to be time for some fantasy football content, man. It's mid-July. It's July 19th, and preseason starts in what, 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
Yeah,
I think less than 4
2
weeks.
weeks. We got a game on the 31st.
Oh my gosh! So it's happening. So I don't think it'll be our next episode, but maybe 2 or 3 episodes from now, we got the fantasy football content coming, man. We know that's what you guys are here for. Those episodes always go crazy, and so I'm really excited for fantasy football season, man. Another great season coming up in the for real though league. This guy still hasn't done his punishment from last year. We got to get on that, but man, it's gonna be good. This is. I feel like I say this like 4 times a year, but this might be one of the most exciting times of the year for sports, man. Fantasy football, there's nothing like it.
It's my
Yeah,
favorite
I
episode
remember.
we do every year, the fantasy episode, NFL season predictions as well. So I can't wait to discuss that with you guys. I feel like the fantasy landscape is going to be very different next year compared to years past in terms of kind of the emerging stars and the old guard, starting to really move out. So very excited to see how things go this season.
Yeah, that'll be very, very interesting. I'm very excited like you guys are for the preseason predictions and the fantasy episode. Like Ned said, probably not next episode, but 2 or 3 episodes from now. Um, anything else?
It's a pleasure as always. It's great to do a podcast on the road. We're here in Las Vegas at the Luxor, just underlooking the giant pyramid right outside our hotel window, and it's been a great week at Summer League, man. Excited to come back to DC and just keep chopping it up, have more sports content, and thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, it's been a great podcast. I'm glad you guys got in there safe. I hope you
Yeah.
guys get out there safe. I'm glad you
Oh,
guys
and,
had
and
a
shout
great
out
experience.
Dermot for coming all the way to Vegas. Man, I guess not all the way to Vegas. It's like an hour and a half flight. But shout out Dermot for coming to Vegas. The NBA is not his favorite league, but he made it out here. Came to Summer League, man. He's been great to have around. So shout out to Big Derm for making the trip out, and
Appreciate it.
it's been great.
Yeah, that sounds like a very, very fun experience you guys are having right now. Sounds amazing. But it's been a great episode. Thank you guys for listening. Um, what emoji should the commenters drop on the Instagram post? Ned, I think what are we thinking?
Flex. Let's go
Let
with
Ned choose.
the flex. Let's go with the
Okay,
flex.
flex.
Flex emoji.
Drop the flexes in the comments on the Instagram post. Drop a 5-star on the Spotify on the
Yes,
Apple.
5-star reviews, man. Or whatever. Be honest with the reviews, man. We love feedback, but if
Yeah,
you're gonna leave a 5-star review, definitely leave a 5-star review.
but like yeah, support us, go crazy. Thank you all for listening and signing off.
Peace.
See you guys.
Peace.